Welcome to Law Next, the podcast that features the innovators and entrepreneurs who are driving what's next in law. I'm Bob Ambrogi, and today we have a special episode for you. It was recorded live at legal tech company Aderant's Momentum Global Conference in Dallas last month, where I sat down with Chris Cartrett, Aderant's CEO, for an in-depth conversation about the company and its new generation of AI-enabled cloud-based business and financial products for law firms. Cartrett has been with Aderant since 2014, and he became its CEO in 2022. He came into the role with the express mission of aggressively advancing a cloud-first strategy throughout Aderant's suite of solutions. So our interview starts there, as one of the first questions I ask him is what grade he gives himself at the 3-year-plus mark in moving the company forward in that strategy. You can hear his answer in just a moment, but first, please take this opportunity to hear from the sponsors who so generously support this podcast. Lawyers should be lawyering. That's why tens of thousands of successful lawyers use Practice Panther to manage their firms. Practice Panther is an all-in-one solution that helps firms of all sizes streamline their workflows, easily track time, manage documents, streamline client intake, and process online payments without ever having to leave the platform. Learn more about what Practice Panther has to offer at practicepanther.com. You didn't go to law school to waste time writing and responding to discovery requests. Never waste time on discovery again with BriefPoint. BriefPoint drafts your discovery responses and requests for documents within minutes of your first sign-in. BriefPoint is the most reliable discovery drafting solution on the market, and it works right out of the box. Get your first document drafted by going to briefpoint.ai and clicking Get Started. No credit card required. BriefPoint. Draft what matters, automate the rest. Now let's get to that conversation with Chris Cartrett. Welcome to Law Next. This is Bob Ambrogi, and I am at the Aderant Momentum Global Conference in Dallas, Texas, where I'm recording this special episode. Thanks to Aderant, which has this wonderful recording set up here and is letting me borrow it for the next half hour or so. But for good reason. It's to speak to their CEO and President, Chris Cartrett. So, Chris, how are you doing today?
I'm doing very well, Bob, and we're very happy to have you here with us in Dallas.
Yeah, I'm really happy to be here. I was just saying to you before we started recording that it's, from my perspective, I so often hear from the PR people and the marketing people, but to be able to come to a conference like this and to talk to the customers and to talk to the employees who work at the company and get that real perspective on the company is invaluable to me.
I appreciate that.
And it's been all good. I'll tell you
that's
that.
Good. Okay. Well, I know that can go either way. So
no, it's really been interesting to hear the conversations. You have a lot of very happy customers, and one of the messages I picked up from the people who work at this company is that they have a lot of respect for you and that they appreciate your leadership. I had people telling me that the guy I see up on stage here is the guy they see in the office every day. Who comes in and says hello to them and talks to them. So that's a good thing.
I appreciate that very much. That's very kind, Bob. You know, we're very fortunate. We have a really good group. I've mentioned this to you before. You know, until somebody is actually a part of this, they don't fully understand the community that we have inside the kind of Aderant portfolio, meaning how our customers and how our employees interact, and I'm glad you got a chance to see it, because it's one of those things. It's really hard for me to explain to like other CEOs at other companies. I'm like, you don't understand. It's very different, and everybody thinks that what they have is different and unique. Yeah. But you know, we're sitting over here close to like our client care lounge, and watching customers come over, work with different people on challenges that they've had or things that they're trying to learn, and then you'll see another customer actually step in like, no, here's a way to do that. Mm-hmm. So it's just a beautiful thing to watch. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. So I know that you've been at Aderant for more than a decade. You've been CEO now for, I think, about 3.5 years or so. And you came into the role of CEO to drive forward the company's cloud strategy. That was really your primary mission at the time, as I recall from talking to you at the time. So
3.5 years or so later, three maybe Aderant Momentum Global Conferences later, what kind of grade do you give yourself? How are you doing on moving along towards that mission?
That's good. That's a great question, too. Well done. So, look, I'm surrounding myself with really good people, and the good people are making really good decisions. I would argue we have not been able to move maybe as fast as we originally wanted to. Like our clients are making the journey into the cloud, whether it be on-prem software, they're moving into the cloud. So on that part, I would say, yeah, we've done really well. Maybe I'll give us a B because you're constantly learning things as you progress. The one thing I would say that I would give us an A+ on is the investments that we made in a lot of the core kind of infrastructures piece for the new things that we were bringing to market. That has been the one thing that I think I've been the most impressed with. I mean, we literally here rolled out 4 brand new massive applications for our clients. And I've had multiples come over and stop and talk to me. And they're like, hey, like this is really good. So if that makes sense, so that the legacy things, as we're progressing them, it's going well. I still think there's other things that we can do to create an even better client experience. But for the new things, though, that we brought up out of the ground over the last 2.5, 3 years, yeah, those have gone incredibly well.
Good.
So
what's really driving that cloud strategy? What's the reason for it?
So it's simplicity. It's, our whole theme here has been about unmatched client experience. Honestly, meaning that we want our customers that when they click on the A to run any app that they may have, that it be something that like really enhances their day, like really changes like how they do work, how they've typically done work. Let's leave it that way. So in our cloud, the reason for the cloud more than anything else is just what you can do within the technology, the simplification of how we can roll out new features and updates. And what's happened last year, I think we rolled out 9 new applications that included some type of MADI AI in them. Already this year, we've rolled out 4 more applications that have AI. Well, all of that is only possible as you get into the cloud and you're leveraging things off of our core platform. So I think that's the best part because, look, the thing we all know in the business of law, which is really where we play, there are so many manual tasks and things that we do on a day-to-day basis. They're ripe for automation. But then to go beyond the automation and to start creating and generating and launching the workflows and literally going to one-touch time that basically flows all the way through to a bill going out the door, I think those will really have a significant impact on our clients.
Yeah. I got interviewed in this chair yesterday by Will, and he commented on stage this morning that I've been in this business for 30 years. I've been in the legal tech area for 30 years. I had people come up to me afterward who said, I've been in it longer than you have. But Aderant has been in it a lot longer. I think it's almost 50 years since Aderant was originally formed. And one of the interesting discoveries, I guess, I've made from talking to some of the clients here is that there are a number of your customers here who are quite happy with the on-prem software.
They are. That's right.
And they're in no hurry to move. And I think in some cases it sounds like, from my understanding, they've kind of customized it and tailored it, and they've got it working just the way they want it working, and they don't want to disrupt that. So how do you deal with those customers, and does there come a time when it's not a choice anymore?
Yeah, I mean, so let me hit the last question first. So will there be a time? You can totally see that on the horizon. I personally believe that is way out, like way out. One of the things that I actually enjoy in the large law space is and I say this affectionately, and my clients know I feel this way, we kind of refer to ourselves as the big crazies. Like we have crazy demands from our clients, which causes the law firms to have to do crazy things inside for how they're going to serve their client, creates all this complexity in billing. And so they have an incredible amount of customizations. Every law firm needs something different. So you can understand, where there's that hesitancy, because in the past, every upgrade required you just massive amounts of testing and all these other challenges that come with it. So that tends to be the pause as to what would keep me on-prem versus moving to the cloud. But with all the firms starting to make the move, as I was walking over here to you, like literally one of the AmLaw 10 firms literally just stopped me to say, hey, it's time. And they know it. And you know, for us, we will continue to support our on-prem clients because the reality is there may be a specific reason for them personally that they think that they need to remain there. But like here, you know, the new AR module that we just came out with, the new GL that has all the AI analytics and queries that go into that GL, we can only offer those if you're a part of the Aderant identity, which is only available when you're in the cloud. So Sierra kind of is that path to kind of get you there. We're still creating innovation for our on-prem clients, but even that innovation is cloud native. So in other words, there are some things we can hook directly into your on-prem application, others we can't. But I do believe over time, you know, people are becoming more and more comfortable. Lawyers, you know, who would want to hire a lawyer that's like the ultimate risk taker, right? Like that's not in their DNA. Right. So they want to see other people who are going first and are getting live. I think we have this year, I want to say there's 3 AmLaw 50 firms that will be live inside Sierra. And I actually think that's what's going to open up the floodgates, because once people start seeing these large global firms as they are making the move over, you heard the story, if you were in the session yesterday, like one of them that made the move, 1,000 lawyer firm, I think they cut their pre-bill runs in half, and their pre-bills were like well in excess of $10,000 a month. So as those stories are eking their way out, you're seeing people start to warm up to it a little bit more.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, you know, and as you mentioned, you here at the conference you rolled out the Cloud General Ledger, the Cloud AR. And you can correct me if I'm wrong, but again, my understanding, I went to the programs where they were kind of demonstrating and going in deeper on those, and what you can do in the cloud GL is still less than what you could do, what you'd want to do in terms of the on-premises, what the capabilities were of the on-premises software, and so you've released sort of a set of features, and there's more to be done.
That's exactly right. So what they did on this first, so we've kind of treated this as the early adopter, this first piece. This is the early adopter piece. There are things in it actually that you can do that you can't do on-prem, but all these products are so incredibly feature rich. So as we continue through the year, probably by the time we get October, November, you'll be, so I don't know what the right way of saying this is, you'll be feature competitive of both, except in the GL you'll actually have some functionality that people have wanted us to have for years, and we just simply were not able to do it in the software. Yeah. Same goes with AR. Yeah. Like on the AR side, we launched AR automation last year, which was something that we never had in Core Expert. Well, as we've done that, now you're seeing the larger part of the core AR start to be rolled out. And the great thing about it is for our clients that are in Sierra, this is not something they have to pay for. They get it. Like this is yours. Like that's the whole purpose of us innovating. One of our core values is, listen, you pay for something one time. And when you get it, as we innovate, that's how we show value back for the subscription revenue that you're paying us.
Yeah. So I think you just kind of answered what was going to be my next question, which is the goal to kind of achieve parity between the cloud suite and the on-premises product, or it sounds like from what you just said that it's sort of parity, but maybe parity plus.
Yeah, it is basically parity plus. What happens is, though, and I'm sure any other software company listening to this will tell you the same thing, you can't ever take anything, once you've given it to them, you can't take it away. Like that's just how it works. Yeah. So anything that we had in any of our past products, when we come out with a new product, it still has to do all of those things. It's just that within the new product, there's always innovation that you needed, whether it been some wonky thing that they want to do with various multi-books or whatever else for some of our large international firms. Well, those things we're able to do now inside this standard cloud GL, stuff that maybe you couldn't do or it wasn't as elegant in the previous product. So there's always little things that you're adding in. So yeah, that'll be the continuation. We want to think of it as same plus. And then over the top of that, though, We are trying to develop what we classified as premium features. Those premium features are much more heavier kind of AI automation stuff over the top, that if customers want to subscribe to that, they can also bring that in as well. So you can create other automation that kind of goes across the entire system. That's the only stuff that we're monetizing.
Yeah. Also announced this week was the availability of Ask Maddie across different products. And you talked yesterday during your keynote or not keynote? You said it wasn't a keynote.
I just call it the kickoff.
A kickoff. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
A kickoff. But you talked about a little bit about your approach to generative AI. What is the approach? Talk about how you're looking at how this needs to be developed and how this is going to be deployed throughout your products.
Well, so Ask Maddie itself, specifically, we want to give our customers the opportunity. You should be able to ask an inquiry of anything that you have in the Aderant portfolio directly from Ask Maddie. All right, so that's so a lot of us today, the people will run reports, so they'll go do research, or they'll scan various different applications to come up with like a holistic answer for whatever it may be. Well, you and I using generative AI at home, whether it be ChatGPT or Claude or whatever else you want to pick, you can do that. So Ask Maddie is nothing more than trained on all the Aderant data, the way everything's structured, to be able to provide you those same kind of generative answers for whatever your question may be. The main part, though, of Ask Maddie that I think is going to have the greatest impact is, and I've talked a lot about that while I've been here, is our customers are really good and they want to be self-sufficient. Sometimes, though, they don't know exactly where to look to do things differently in the software, or say they run into an error with something that they were trying to do. Hey, if they were to call us, what are the steps that we would make? So what we've tried to do with Ask Maddie, besides allowing them the opportunity to generate and create their own answers from their data, is also help them be able to use the product better. So in other words, think of it as like, we want to try to shift the entire support experience as far left as humanly possible, so that our clients can actually take care of everything they want to take themselves. And I personally think that'll be the biggest impact that Ask Maddie will have. Now, on the overall AI question, so to me, the generating part of Gen AI goes so much further than question answer, like a much further. Meaning that like where this has to progress, and this is what I've been sharing with a lot of people here, is too many software companies, us included, we're still thinking in terms of apps. In other words, you have this app to do this, and then this app does this, and then this app. And so you almost have this workflow of various different apps. Well, the reality is where we are today with all the agentic models that exist, and even our own agentic architecture that we just rolled out, we should be merging those. Like what you do here should actually, you shouldn't need 4 different apps. One thing should be able to manage that workflow all the way out the door, with humans obviously being able to check things in the middle of it. And so that to me is what the real promise is of what we're trying to do with Maddie and the entire strategy around Maddie.
Yeah, and does that also play into the entire strategy around Striden?
Striden's the whole. All of this is possible because of the investment that we made in the platform. Because that's what it is. Striden sits as that core architecture. That's where all the AI sits. Every other application is sitting on top of it. So that's what allows everything to talk to one another. The data plane that exists within Striden, that's what brings all the different products together. And so far, knock on wood, we still have another 24 hours to go. So far, it's been really, really well received. So we hope it continues on.
Today's interview features Chris Cartrett, CEO of legal tech company Aderant. In a special episode of Law Next, we recorded live at the company's Momentum Global 2025 conference in Dallas last month. I want to take a moment to extend a huge thanks to everyone at Aderant for their hospitality while I attended their conference in Dallas. And particularly a shout out to Will Ayers, Senior Communications Specialist, for letting me conduct this interview in the highly professional Studio A recording studio they had set up at the conference, and for then providing me with the recording to use in this episode of Law Next. I really appreciate it. We'll get back to that conversation in just a moment. First, please take this opportunity to learn about the sponsors who so generously support this podcast. As an attorney, it's crucial for you to prioritize your client's needs. Practice Panther offers a comprehensive solution that automates internal processes and handles administrative tasks, allowing you to dedicate more time to nurturing stronger client relationships. With robust features like case management, automated billing, and client portals, Practice Panther prepares you with everything necessary to focus on serving your clients effectively. Tens of thousands of law firms already trust Practice Panther to manage their practices. Discover the benefits for yourself at practicepanther.com. Voice recognition is great for quick texts or emails, but when accuracy matters, AI guesses. As you well know, in law, guessing isn't an option. With SpeakRight, real human transcriptionists deliver accurate, professionally formatted legal documents in about 3 hours, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The free mobile app provides instant access to trained legal secretaries, plus Clio integration for seamless filing. It's like carrying a full support staff on your phone. LawNext listeners, claim your $100 free credit right now at speakright.com/lawnext. Welcome back to LawNext. This is a special episode recorded live at Aderant's Momentum Global Conference in Dallas last month, in which I sat down and spoke with the company's CEO, Chris Cartrett. Cartrett and I have plenty more to talk about, including how he uses AI in his own daily work. So let's get right back to it.
You talked also a lot yesterday, and there's been a lot of conversation here. Also, it was talked about this morning about kind of allowing your customers to be more independent, more able to help themselves more.
Yes.
I'm not exactly sure how you phrased it, but you this year appointed Josiah Chaves to the Chief Client Officer. Is that the right title? And I know that's been a big focus of what you've been talking about at the conference. So why does that matter to you, and how are you trying to enable that?
Yeah, so let me explain to what I mean first about the helping our clients kind of be self-sufficient. What's happened over the past few years, so Aderant does, we do everything now from the beginning of where work's initiated all the way until you're paid, and then managing your talent in the middle. So our breadth of products has gotten much larger. What you've watched happen, though, in our law firms is the law firms themselves, those lines are starting to blend because things are integrating, they're coming from different systems. And when I look specifically at like just basically what's going on in our industry, and we did the same thing, you'll see people hire, chief customer officers or chief client officers, whatever you want to call them. And more often than not, they were just trying to build faster horses. Mm-hmm. Meaning, how do I go from A to Z? Well, I'll bring in this person that worked at XYZ company. They've run these phenomenal account management and CX teams. We'll put all this process in place, and all of a sudden, we act like we're going to radically change something. And that just doesn't happen. That's just faster horses. My whole thing with Josiah, who he and I have worked together now for 10 years, I brought him into the company back when I was running sales. My thing about Josiah was, listen, I want to do it different. I want us to come up with something that's a radically different way of serving our clients. And that starts within our product, and then we focus on the processes that we have, inside when they do need to reach out, and then the people and how they work and work individually with our clients. And so the whole idea there being is like, listen, there is a better way of doing this that can allow our clients to have full independence for the things that they're wanting to do within the software, things that they may want to do in the future with the software, whether it be, developing new workflows, whatever the thing could be that they're wanting to handle themselves. And so that's what that's literally what I tasked the team with. They're already starting to make progress. I thought Josiah did a good job this morning pointing out that, this will be a journey, but there's no excuse for us not being able to have impact on day one. So that's the path that we're going to head down. I will tell you my view on this chief client officer and why I thought Josiah was such a perfect fit is that when you work inside large law firms, the complexity that they deal with on a day-to-day basis, it really is unique. And so I needed somebody in that role that understood the hard things that our clients do on a day-to-day basis, because that would help him set up and organize us as an organization in a better way to serve them versus somebody else coming in and then trying to figure out, well, isn't a law firm just like an accounting firm? Well, no, it's not even close.
Yeah.
So anyway, I think it's going to be a good move.
Yeah. There was something I put down in my notes that you said during your kickoff, not keynote, yesterday, but you kind of in a little bit of self-criticism. I think you said that I don't know if, speaking to your customers, I don't know if we've adjusted to how things in your firm have started meshing together.
Yes.
Is that a reference to the service part? Is that a reference to the apps part of that you were talking about before? What was your point?
It's all of it. So, because I'll tell you, because my line has been borderless, meaning that is too often what you experience when you're working. This to me was our biggest negative. Now, I think most every company out there still does this as well. So maybe I'm being negative about everybody, but it's not what I want us to be. Too often we would sell something. We would then implement something, and then you would transition over to support. And then, we have this great idea. We'll put this CX person over the top of it, and somehow we act like they're going to be the mortar that kind of holds all that together. But the reality is the work still has to get done to serve the client. So if you're a client and you're sitting there waiting, or you have a challenge, or you need to get something done for month end or year end or whatever else, when you're constantly getting passed from different departments, that is a horrible experience. Like, none of us would want that in our own home. If you've ever had to call customer service and this person can't answer and they forward you to the next one, and that has happened too much. And I'm not saying that, obviously our net promoter scores are off the charts. People, they obviously are satisfied because Lord knows they keep buying, thank heavens. But that's what I mean when I say, there is a better way of doing this. Mm-hmm. Whether it's be how we organized ourselves, the training, even how some groups are compensated. There's a better way for us to help our clients achieve the outcomes that they want to achieve with it's funny, we have really good people. I think it's more of a knock on, because we talk about this as a leadership team. We think it's like a knock on us that we have not created a better structure for them to operate in to serve the clients the way we want to see them served. So,
okay. Makes sense. Been several announcements of new products here at this show. What are you most excited about right now?
Yeah, so it's really good. So there's two things. One, I'll tell another tale on us, and then I'll tell you the one that I think that's new that's really going to change the game. So, one of the things I've always been very critical about us for, it's funny, we do really hard reporting well. We do really simple reporting well. But the stuff that to me is kind of the table stakes that a lawyer and, other professionals need on a day-to-day basis, I don't know that we ever really did that really well. We always had to turn to partners and other people. So I think the rolling out of Striden Analytics actually fills a major hole. I mean, personal hole, just a major hole in just the typical things that we were bringing to market. So I think that'll be a lot of fun, and I've watched our clients interacting with it. They are thrilled to death. So I guess we were right to say that was a major hole. But then the other one, though, that I think is going to have the biggest impact is iTimekeep Premium now being able to generate a time card, literally create the narrative for you. It also lines up the code, the phase, the task. So literally you're doing nothing but reviewing it based on the work that you've done that day, and then boom, it's released. Knowing how law firms are always struggling to get lawyers to get time in, I think this is going to be the big change, because one of the great things about the way the Aderant products are structured is throughout our entire system, very core to it, is that you're able to manage the rules and guidelines for how your engagement is set up with your client. Well, now those actual rules and guidelines are what governs the time card and what happens in billing and out the door. Mm-hmm. And whereas a lot of people out there have been trying to come up with what they think are compliant, our compliance is based entirely upon what you're paid, because we know the answer based on what's going on in Bill Blast. So I'm hands down most excited for that application because I do believe it's going to have the biggest impact on our firms.
Yeah, and I think you addressed this in your opening, but there are, it might have been Andy, it might have been you, I forget now, but I mean, there are other point solutions out there right now that are doing kind of automated time.
Yeah.
But I believe you would say yours is different and better. So why? Why is that?
Well, first let me say this. There's actually some very good ones out there. We have
good
learned, I mean, I don't want to be this person, but this is kind of who we are. We want to be first to be second. I don't really always want to be first to be second. I'd kind of like to be first. But like I've watched some of these AI startups, for lack of a better term, come on the scene, and they've had some really good creative ideas for how to approach the problem. The thing that we have over them that they don't have, and I don't know how they'll ever get it, is I know information about my clients and what actually gets paid. I know what gets rejected. I know what is accepted. And because ours is a true end-to-end solution, I don't have to come up with a game to help a lawyer, enter a narrative and then clean up the narrative in a way that the firm thinks is a good rule and put that on a bill. If it gets on that bill and it's something that is going to get held up when it goes to the e-billing, it doesn't, great, congratulations, you got the lawyer's time in, but he's going to be doing it over again anyway.
Right.
Like, it doesn't change. What we're doing is we're taking it all based on success. We know what gets paid, so now take that all the way back to the lawyers entering time. They put something in. It then suggests a narrative that we know actually aligns with what's going to get through the door, and give them their codes, their phase, their task, everything else with it. We think that's going to be the game changer.
Yeah.
So
I'll admit it looks pretty cool from what I've seen of it. So you've also talked again in your opening about the fact that last year was one of your best years ever, I think. It was really successful year, really good year.
Yes.
We are now at the tail end of the Momentum Conference. So as you walk away from this conference over the next couple of days, how do you maintain that momentum? How does Aderant as a company maintain that momentum going forward?
That's a great question. So you should know I literally just cornered my head of marketing, told her the same thing. She asked me, so how do you think it's going? I'm like, I'll let you know at the end of June. So no, I mean, the thing I love about Momentum itself is we are able to engage with our clients. We're able to, where there's things that we need to help them with, we're able to look in and address it. But this is always a perfect time of year for us to really bring new things to market, because a lot of our clients in here, for example, the Timekeep Premium we were just talking about, they'd already licensed it. And we allowed them to license it at a discounted price, knowing what they would be receiving. Well, that's incredible trust on their part that we're going to deliver on what it was we said we would do. Well, now that we've done it, they get it. And that buzz is what kind of creates everybody else in here saying, hey, wait, I want that as well. So so those tend to be the things that lift the business. We've been very fortunate so far the first 5 months of this year. We're having a good year. I think all of us in legal, though, we're trying to be mindful of what's going on in the market, because literally every day there's something new that we're trying to deal with, and challenges, whether it be in the economy, whether they're good or bad, or it just depends on what the day is. But I'll say I'm feeling really good about the team. I have several of my salespeople here, sales leaders. I'm Big Bob on looking them in the eyes and just kind of seeing what I can read deep in their soul. Yeah. And what I am seeing is a whole lot of fire. They're in a very good place. So that will let me sleep a lot better at night. So
good. What about farther down the road? I mean, how do you see Aderant? Where's Aderant going to be in 5 years? How's the industry going to be different in 5 years?
Yeah. So this is the AI piece. We had a meeting that kicked this entire thing off with just a bunch of CIOs and CFOs from a lot of the different firms around the country. And we were having that conversation, and I was not surprised. I think they're trying to pay attention to what's going on in the AI world, but I was surprised that it's still a lot of general conversations around the basis of demand, ways that they can continue to drive top line growth, and that ultimately being what feeds the bottom line growth. I'm actually one that thinks that it is going to be a much larger change and everybody wants to give it credit for. Not in a way that's like negative. Like this idea that all of a sudden people are going to lose their jobs, I actually do not believe that. I don't think that's the case at all. I do believe somebody doing their job today will be able to do more. That's just the natural part, right, of efficiency. But when I look 5 years out and listen, I'll go back to what I said before about apps. Right now I've got 7 different product lines serving 7 different groups, and there's different products under each one of them. You can already see the handwriting on the wall where these things start to merge, they blend. It is literally, it literally becomes something that is more of a monumental change in process for how firms work. Mm-hmm. So I think there's some really big things coming.
Yep. I'm tempted to ask whether you think it's going to kill the billable hour. Since
it's funny. That's what everybody got into. Everybody got into this idea: will it kill the billable hour or whatnot? We have this one law firm in Melbourne. The CFO, she was so smart, so intelligent. They forced all their lawyers to just start doing their basic communications and other things through Copilot. They're like, we're going to give you this. You have to do it. Well, sure enough, some of the basic things that they would do in a matter, it went from, I'm just going to make up a number here. Let's say it went from 10 hours down to 8 hours. They found efficiency. Well, they turned around and rolled that out to our clients as a fixed fee for what would have basically been the cost for 9 hours. So this is my whole thing. Whether it's billable hours, whether it's fixed fee. I mean, Allen & Overy just rolled out a subscription service. I don't know if you saw that for antitrust.
No, I didn't see that.
Yeah, so there's there's going to be a lot of new ways of doing this, but I shared this on the stage this morning. I remember, I've been in this industry 30 years too. So I remember, though, however many years ago it was when we first came out with all the automated, contract reviews and all this stuff. And I will never forget, it was a managing partner. We were out at Pebble Beach, and he makes the comment, he goes, I became managing partner because of how great I was at reviewing contracts, and now I just touch a button. And they were all kind of like, I don't know what impact this is going to have. At first, it felt like disruption, but then immediately law firms understood how to adjust. And more importantly, I feel like the firms learned, hey, that's actually not what we're paying you for. We're paying you for your brain and what happens, after the standard stuff is going on within the document, right? Yeah. And so I do believe with AI, that's going to be the same thing here. There's probably some mundane things that we're all doing that maybe were a part of the billable hour before that now should not be. Yeah. And you'll still be able to capitalize that revenue because it's ultimately about the skill of the lawyer that you're leaning in on. Yep. So anyway.
Yep. How are you using AI in your daily work?
It's funny you say that. I actually take an AI class every morning for 20 minutes. So because I'm determined to build an application. My CTO knows this. They're terrified that I'm going to want to write code because that would actually be very scary. But no, so across our entire business, whether it be your standard emails drafting, whether it be things you're doing in PowerPoint, those are like the no-brainers. Something that for me personally that I have started doing, and I would recommend this to any CEO out there, it sounds so silly. Every time we start pursuing a strategy for something that we're wanting to do in the business, I've caught myself starting to have conversations with different AI tools that I use. Because what's interesting is, more often than not, it will repeat back to me kind of what I've said or what I'm thinking. But like this morning, I'm working on something right now, a different strategy inside our business. And I did it, and it came back with something that I was like, what is that? I didn't even know what this was. So then I queried it to understand what was this line. And I got like this, and I'm sure it came from some other company out there somewhere in the world is actually doing this, but it came back with like this incredible basic process for how to do something that I don't know if I'm going to tell my team it came from AI or it came from me, but it was really good. So, but anyway, it'll be something that we're tackling.
Yeah,
so
can't tell them it came from AI.
I know exactly. That's exactly. They won't respect me anymore.
Yeah, great. Well, I really appreciate you talking to me. Anything else on your mind that you wanted to?
No, it's been really good. We've had a lot of fun. Fortunately, we've had great weather here in Dallas after the challenges of trying to get in that Monday night. But no,
and
it's good.
In Alaska next year, right?
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, it'll be fun. I'm looking forward. I know Jess will be making the announcement tonight. I hope everybody enjoys where we're going for 2026, so that'll be a lot of fun. But I will say this to Bob, I really mean this. You've been doing this for a long time. It has been, there's very few voices that we have in legal that honestly we can all like lean into and listen to and trust. So I really appreciate you being here. Like, it means a lot to us. It meant a lot to our employees. You heard, even the clients in the room, give the clap today. So anyway, so it means a lot. So we're very grateful for you being here.
I'm really, really glad I came. It's been a great conference and really enjoyed being here. So
awesome. Thank you so much.
Here. Well, thanks for talking.
All right, brother.
All right. That's it for this episode of Law Next. Thanks for joining us. This is Bob Ambrogi. See you next time.
Thanks for listening to today's show. I hope you enjoyed it. If you'd like to share your own thoughts or comments, please do so by messaging us on LinkedIn or other social media, or just email me directly, ambrogi@gmail.com. If you're a fan of the show, please leave us a review wherever you get your podcasts. LawNext is a production of LawNext Media. I'm your host, Bob Ambrogi. I hope you'll join us again next time for another episode of LawNext.